Let's dive into the good stuff, shall we?
Yes, sir.
You have made some changes on your website since last week, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, full disclosure, we had just I'd engaged this company, a guy I'd met at a marketing conference a while back to redo our site. And so it went live. I
Mm,
think when I sent it to you, I think this was already live. Or
yes.
was is this okay? But since then they've kind of made some tweaks to it. We added this intro video. I think that's the main thing that we've changed.
Yeah, exactly. So I already saw that there because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Then that will make a little bit more sense. Okay, you should be able to see that.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a photo here
Hmm.
before, and one of my questions was, is this representing your target audience? Yes or no? Because that was an older gentleman, and if that wasn't the majority of your patients that come through your door for their physical therapy, then that photo needed changing. So anyway,
Right.
so keep that in mind. The photo is gone now. So you've put the video or a video there.
Hmm.
So let's
And to
start
answer your
with,
yeah, and to answer your question, that really is kind of our target audience. We
okay.
tend to see, 55 plus, either male or female. But
Mm,
yeah, that's a little bit older population. We're not just strictly like a sports clinic or something like
okay,
that. That's actually a
okay,
pretty
okay.
small
Yeah,
percentage of what we
okay,
get.
okay. Okay, no, that's good. As long as you're on the ball there, because it's quite important that that's 100%. If you're not doing like 25-year-old sport athletes with sport related injuries, then there's no point putting that on there. Anyway, so uh, that has changed. So this is now the video. You look. You look a little bit stern there. You see
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe they can
So
put a different frame or start it with a little bit different. Okay.
yeah, they can put on like a thumbnail.
Uh-huh.
Like you need to smile in there. Like this is like, oh, okay. That's
Right. Okay.
there's a stern looking gentleman there. So it needs to be because this is not you. This is not your personality. We interacted a little bit last week during the webinar.
Right.
So this gives a very wrong impression of
Okay.
you. But there's a
Great.
couple of other things that if you want to put video there, I would do something different. I just would put a background video on there that is just showing like some sort of a treatment with like a filter over that, that it
Okay.
actually doesn't really take away the core message, which is very good, by the way, because you're talking directly to your audience and you're actually telling them what you're doing. We help
Okay.
transform the lives of everyday people by quickly getting them out of pain and back to normal without pills, injections, or surgery. What I would change, I would put stop here, and
Uh-huh.
then make this with a capital, make this a new
Okay.
sentence
Okay.
to make it clear. Like it's always better to break up sentences in smaller pieces. Like you can we help you can keep this as a whole thing, but then without pills, injections, or surgery, that can be a
Uh,
sentence on its own. And
okay.
maybe because you have the space anyway, just drop it
Right.
down on a new line here so that it stands below there.
It stands
See
out a
what I
little bit.
mean?
Would you do it like in all caps or just make it just a separate sentence?
No, no, it's no need to make all caps. It's a separate sentence and drop that
Okay.
underneath the normal there.
Right.
I would maybe change the font size a little bit so that
Uh-huh.
the normal ends up here
Okay.
with then your end, and then that it starts a new line and a new sentence without pills, injections, or surgery. So that stands
Okay.
alone, and because otherwise you have a ghost here, just one one word on one line is called a
I see.
ghost. You have to avoid that. Yeah. So that's very easy to solve. Just make the font a little bit smaller so that
Okay.
it fits all there. And then I'll come back to the video in a second. The call to action needs to stand out more.
Okay.
So that really needs to look like a button, and that really needs to have a different color. It's good that it changes on hover. That's another good trick. So it turns white when it's on hover. But this really needs to be a different color and maybe more of a rounded edges here, that it actually looks like a button, not square.
Any color suggestions based off of kind of, I know, it's kind of funny because you get, my, idea with the website is to drive leads, right? To bring people in.
Yes.
That's the ultimate goal for me. And, and working with these guys, they want to put a lot more of the prettiness in the website. And they were always concerned about the coloring and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I just need leads to hit the button.
Yeah, this is the point where a lot of web design companies, they just miss it a little bit because they're not marketers and they don't understand.
Right.
I have that, not really argument, but in a lot of business owners' mind is that the website needs to look pretty. No, it doesn't need to look pretty. It needs to be functional. And like what I said during the webinar also, your website has one function or one job, is to get you leads. I mean, even a perfectly optimized website for lead generation that is ugly will outperform a beautiful, well-designed website with all the whistles and bells that is not conversion optimized. It's just not working. Then you just have something pretty for people to look at, but it's not going to convert. So this button needs to look like a button. Anything that's different than this blue. I mean, I wouldn't even use white for this because your whole text is white. Like something that goes well with this kind of shade of blue that you have, that can be like an orange or maybe a yellow. It doesn't have to be like bright yellow or bright orange. There's many different shades and tones but it has to be a different color so that it just like people's eye get drawn to that. And normally okay, so here's the big issue that I have with this video is that when I click on that, that's all working. So then you have I have to press another button to make it start. And then, okay, that's all fine. So you're starting to talk and whatnot. That's good. But it's on YouTube. And you know exactly what is happening at the end of a YouTube video.
Is it plays to something else, right?
Yes, then you get a lot of people get the choice. How about this video and this video? So YouTube, the platform, like all of these platforms, they are designed to keep people there, which is on the YouTube platform. And people might actually click away from your site.
Gotcha.
So this is a brilliant video. Maybe I would cut it maybe a little bit shorter. What you can do is like, so you're talking here for a full like 35 seconds before it goes to the next frame. Yeah, where it changes to. I mean, you can make this a lot shorter and your voice can still keep going while there is something else. There needs to be more dynamics in your video in general. People don't want to look too much at people talking. They want to see like your facility. It's all in there. You just need to re-edit it a little bit more. That there is a little bit less of you and more of your facility, like your staff, therapy, like people giving a treatment like shoulder massage or back manipulation or whatever you guys are doing. So a lot less
Gotcha.
of you. You
Uh-huh.
can talk in the background, but it's like more like small shots. Like I don't know what you're talking about here, but if let's say that you're talking about knee treatment, for example, then that doesn't have to be you in there. That's just
Right.
then they hear you talking about knee treatment, but there's a shot of actually one of your therapists like treating a patient
Yeah, so it matches up
on
with what I'm saying.
his or her
Right.
knee. So that's
Okay.
just a quick thing off the cuff here.
Okay.
But the main thing is like this brilliant video, but it shouldn't be there. That video
Yes.
actually can be part of something lower, where you make a section like this is where we are, or this is more about us, or I'm not really sure how you want to introduce that video because I haven't actually listened to all of it.
Yeah, so the
Uh,
video is not really about treatment. It's, why we built the center. There's a compelling
yes,
story about my dad having to have surgery because therapy somewhere else had failed him.
yeah,
I wanted to be
beautiful,
right there front
absolute.
and
That's
center to
brilliant.
connect with the people. Yeah.
Brilliant. So that needs to be a section on its own, where your story comes out. Like a huge thing about why people. I don't know how much competition you have in your area, but a huge things why people might actually choose you over somebody else is because of the story that's behind you. Like why are you doing it?
Right.
And why are you the best person to help them? So if you have a fantastic story to tell about your dad, so then this needs to be uh, maybe even here, like right underneath, like here is the why, and then you have text here where you summarize the story a little bit about like why you're doing this or what makes you stand out different,
Mhm.
what makes you different. And then you have your video there. I would strongly recommend that you embed it directly on the side.
Right.
The drawback of that is that you're gonna have to compress it,
Okay.
that it doesn't take up too much of the loading of your site. Like the
Okay. Gotcha.
only advantage of using YouTube or Vimeo is that it's hosted not on your platform, but it's hosted somewhere else,
I
and
see.
it's better for your loading speed.
Okay.
But there you're trading in possibly losing people because they might click away from your
I
site.
see.
So it's there a little bit like what is more important to you? Keep them on your side, then embed the video and make sure it's being compressed so it doesn't take up too much resources when the page opens. But that's definitely a big thing that I would change straight away. Like the
So what would you
story.
replace there? Because that was the point of putting the video there, to kind of just break straight into the story. And that, the picture that you initially saw with me stretching the older guy his shoulder, that was, initially just kind of a placeholder. And that's why I wanted to just put that video there, so it's there
Yeah,
right away as soon as we
I
get
would
there.
put. I know what you're trying to do, but it's like, but as long as you're above the fold, people will see it.
Right.
And if you have, because here there's nothing there. There's just the video is not really telling me anything. I have to click on it to know what it's about. If you drop that and you make a section here with I would put the text actually here because this is where people's eye is going to go. It's on the right hand side, so they
Okay.
will look there, and then your text that explains the video, short, summarized, like here is the why,
Okay.
and then you ask a copywriter to synthesize or to summarize your story to really make it stand out. And then you should have, you can put that video on autoplay,
Okay.
so that when people scroll down, it starts to autoplay straight away with the sound off, but you have to put subtitles on or captions,
Okay.
so that people actually can already start seeing what you're saying in that video. What is it about? And then shorter, like a lot less of you and more action shots of your center, what you're doing, your staff, who is important, basically the content of your what you're telling, visualized not by you talking to the camera, but visualized with the shots, like I explained to you a couple of minutes ago. Yeah.
And so would you even put another picture there, or maybe just compress that blue banner and make it smaller, and then right underneath it, like you said, put the text on the left-hand side that kind of talks about what the video is talking about, and the video on the right, or more just like a video all the way across the bar, like where it says, "Where does it hurt?"
No, it's like this becomes a separate section. So you have section here, where does it hurt? And you have another section here where it says, this is your lead magnet or a lead magnet. Then there's another section, this is our commitment to you. So everything just drops down one level. And this becomes like, here is the why, or why we do it. And then you have your little line here underneath your text. And then you have on desktop, it will be your video here and your text will be here. Yeah.
Okay.
On mobile, obviously, that doesn't make any difference, because there it will organize itself one underneath each other. I'm not sure what kind of platform your web designers are using, but you should. Okay. But it depends, like what kind of page builder they have, or whether they're coding, they're hand coding everything, that I don't know.
Okay.
Like this is your mobile view, for example. Yeah. So you clearly see that in your mobile view, your video actually is not even, it doesn't even show. You know, it's just like. Your text actually drops underneath. There's nothing wrong with that. But then what is this? You know, this is the three second rule is, people come on your page, they need to know straight away, what is it about? Okay, the text helps, but you need to have this visual cue there. Like, this is just a stern looking gentleman looking straight at me. And it doesn't, I have to read to know what your site is about. Anyway, I want to go back to the desktop version, because I'm not finished yet. So what was I saying? Yes. So for this thing here is that you can have that photo of that previous photo back here, but I would put a filter on there that it doesn't like take all of the attention. You know, like that blue, this kind of blue filter, or push that to the background. They can play a little bit with the opacity there. If you put a layer on top, the same layer blue, but then put it at like 60%, for example, that it's still coming through, but it's darker, so people can see what's happening, but they're drawn towards the text, because that's important. And they're drawn toward your appointment, which, if I click, is bringing me to something like this here. Okay. Okay, so let's not get too deep into the weeds. That's all working, so that's fine. Then what?
You're saying, so basically, that picture, as soon as you look at it, you see that, okay, we're doing something to somebody, you know, whether it's rehab is what you see, rehab, and then you see someone stretching, so straight away you know, okay, they're doing something to somebody. And then if they want to know
if you can send me a couple of pictures of what you have. I couldn't really find any gallery. Maybe I can pinpoint one that I say, like, there has to be a little bit more action
shots.
Yeah, I mean, you like somebody lying on a table maybe is not really that ideal, but I can't really find any other photos on your site, so there isn't really anything that I can what do most people come to you for? Like, what is the biggest problem that is it back, neck, or shoulder, or knee?
Back pain.
Back. So then you have
Yeah.
to have a picture of somebody manipulating somebody's back.
Okay.
Yeah. So do we have that here? Yeah, here you have a photo, but not this one. Like really somebody. I made something for a chiropractor a while back. Like I'll see if I can find that. I have some good photos, but it's better that you source your own photos,
Right.
obviously. So somebody sitting on a table, like sitting sideways, and then your therapist behind manipulating a back, something like this. If you have that in your library somewhere, and then
Right.
put the filter on there, change the headline like I said here, with a new sentence here, and drop this below. Then for the rest, is actually not too bad. Like I see it because last week you had 2 lead magnets on there. One of my remarks was then don't, like you choose one, which you did now. So you have like neck and back arthritis. So that's a good choice because you just told me that back problems is your main bread and butter. So that's great. Again, like try to, this button stands out, but make it look like a button.
Okay.
Like round off the edges a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then you have testimonials.
Yeah, we're gathering. We have a lot of them. We're just picking them out and getting them back over to the guys. I just wanted them to get the site going right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at one more thing before I go into the mobile version. They're going to hate me for this, but so be it. Have you done a speed test on your site?
A speed test?
Okay, so no.
No.
I did.
Okay.
So, and well, you can see for yourself your score.
Okay.
And
so that
they're
means
probably,
that page loads real slow.
actually, that's not too bad, but you're definitely like an F, that's not a good score, and a D is not a good score. All the websites I built, I get an A for page speed, and getting an A for this is very, very difficult because this has to do with the script that is installed on the site, and that's very difficult to optimize. But I definitely, if I get a C, I'm very unhappy. So I get A's here and B's here. You're very close to a C at least. If you get to 70%, your load speed actually is okay. So you have 3.1 seconds. That's not too bad. But there's a lot of room for improvement on Google Page Insights. You can still see my screen, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. On Google's Speed Insights it's also not looking pretty, but this gives the best overview. Like where you score really very bad is scaled images and optimize the images and browser caching. That's really very easy to solve. So for scaled images, actually, there's only 2 on there. And these are, I think, these first 2 photos. One is shoulder and knee. I think is this one, and this one. So basically what they need to do is resize, because now it's being presented in a format of 1000 to 667. And if they scale that down to 148 by 148, then you have a 96 reduction in render time. So 2 photos is not bad. But there's definitely, if they can optimize these 2 or scale them. And then for image optimization, you have a couple more here, as you can see. This is all of your testimonials. Like this is Sharon, this is Johnson Curtis Calvin, if I read this correctly.
Yeah.
Tim Murphy. So these are all these photos of your testimonials that need to have losslessly compression. They know exactly what this means, and this is very, very easy to do. So you can go yourself on the site called gtmetrics.com. You put in your own URL, and then you can take a screenshot, and then you can pretend that you're really very smart and that you knew all this. And ask them like, hey guys, is there something that you can, because you're not doing anything on your site, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then you just point that out like, hey, this is a 5-minute job. The same thing with browser caching. That has to do with the server or the web hosting company that they're using, and whether they have actually some sort of a plugin installed, like fastest cache, for example, or WP3 is the one that I'm using for all my clients, but not every page builder accepts that. So that depends a little bit what they're using, how they've set up your site, and whatnot. But they should have browser caching. That is really very easy to install. And with these 3 things, that will improve your load time a little bit. Let's see if I click retest if anything changes, because the speed times that goes up and down. So okay, this is going to take a little bit because everybody is checking this now. So maybe now this is below 3 seconds. It could be 4 seconds also. But you really should try to get consistently 3 seconds and under that on the load speed. Another thing is that you don't have SSL certificate on your website.
Okay, yeah, and that was one thing we had talked about. I thought they had that set up, but I noticed that the other day when I was looking at that.
Well, the S is not there yet. Normally, if you have an SSL certificate, your HTTP will change to HTTPS.
Okay, I'll ask them.
I mean, it's not really that big of an issue if you're not really collecting money through your site, but Google, it's important for ranking. Like Google will always favor secure sites over unsecured sites. So everybody's doing this for free now, unless if you're with GoDaddy, it's like the worst possible. You see now your loading speed is 4 seconds, so that is not good enough. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So 3.1 is still okay. 4 is not good.
Okay.
So let's throw this in again and then talk a little bit more while this is
is running. Unfortunately, we are with GoDaddy. So who do you recommend? Anybody but.
Okay, so for hosting, like domain names and stuff like that, who is your hosting company? That's basically is where are your website files stored, and who's serving them. Yeah, so
I believe it's all GoDaddy.
Yeah, no, that's awful. They have like really very, for me, that's an absolute no-go. Even Namecheap is better now. I just put one client on Namecheap. I'm using WPX hosting, but it's boutique hosting. It's quite expensive. But like it's razor fast. So for those people that are willing to spend $25 per month on hosting, it's definitely worth it. Like other companies, it's like $2-3 per month, really very cheap. But you know, like with everything in life, you get what you pay for.
Right.
Okay, so it's not getting any better. So 4.3 seconds, that's not good. So you really need to push them. They need to get your site loading below 3 seconds, and they need to get this score much higher up. Everything else is pretty good. Like this one is very difficult to do because this is CSS, but everything else is good. So if they can get the first 3 up, and then if you still score not good in speed, then it's just your hosting company, and then there is nothing really that you can do. That is just because what a lot of the cheaper hosting packages do is they have what they call that again, shared servers. So there's a lot of websites on there. They're like a lot of like SiteGround. I'm not really sure about SiteGround, but GoDaddy and a couple of other ones, they white label hosting. So they're basically they rent space somewhere else.
I see.
And they use their brand and their name recognition to offer hosting, but actually they don't offer hosting because they're just using they're just white labeling somebody else's service. And with boutique hosting is separate because they have their own servers, and they don't outsource or allow other people to rent space on their servers. And this is why some pages can have very high scores here, but the loading time is still low, and that's just a hosting company, and you can only change that by getting a better hosting.
How is HostGator? Is that part of GoDaddy as well, or is that something separate?
No, HostGator is also separate, but it's also one of the cheaper companies. I have no experience with HostGator, so I'm not really going to talk about that. But like to give you an idea, like with GoDaddy, for example, they will charge you extra for an SSL certificate.
I see.
Which is pretty lame, actually, that they try to monetize that. And I'm not sure if they can keep on doing this for a longer time, because now, like, even cheaper packages with Namecheap, for example, they offer a free SSL certificate, and obviously with the more expensive ones, you also get free SSL certificate included.
I see.
Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic here.
Sorry.
So I wanted to talk about mobile optimization.
Okay.
And this is just a little hack that I'm using to get this on mobile view. You actually might have to grab your iPhone or your Android. And let me just quickly do that and put your site in here. So then you actually have the 100% real view of what your user's going to see. Physical. Therapy.com. Okay, let's go.
Okay, yeah, it kind of looks like what you got.
Okay, so that view is a little bit more, I have an iPhone 7 Plus, so it's a little bit of a bigger screen. So what I'm seeing above the fold is up until here. Where does it hurt?
Right,
so
that's
what
I'm
seeing.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. You see this massive white space underneath. That is way too big.
Yep.
Yeah, so there is prime real estate that is just like massive white space. That is not how it should be. I've already spoken about the top here, so your video is not even on there. So, and 60% of your traffic is going to come through mobile. So it's quite big. So actually, when I'm building websites, I start mobile first. I don't even make a website on desktop anymore. I go straight to mobile, build it on mobile, and then afterwards I'm looking at how it looks at the desktop version, and I'm using a lot of most of my sites I'm building through Thrive themes. And what they are doing, their page builder allows me to have a totally separate mobile and desktop.
Oh, cool.
So I can build a whole site. I mean, the content will all be there, but then I can optimize it for the platform I'm using for, which is a huge advantage. And not every, I'm not sure how they're doing that. They're gonna have to cut this out. If I go back to your desktop, it's not there. So I don't really know how they're going to solve that, but they're going to have to solve that for you 100%, because 60% of your traffic going to mobile, this is just like, this is a sin almost. Yeah.
Right.
So you know what to change, what to change here.
Sure.
So this white space needs to go. Because we've already spoken about that, your video and your story as to why we're doing it, that will then actually should be right underneath book your appointment. So if I'm looking back on my iPhone, then you will have book appointment, then right under, there needs to be some white space. Like this is okay, maybe a little bit a touch smaller, but that's still acceptable. Then the same white space, but then at least your headline here already, and then part of your text and part of your video, so they don't have to scroll to see the next part. Now they have to scroll on the phone, because the only thing I see is where does it hurt, and nothing underneath. Yeah. And then you have here a lot of white space, which is not on my phone, which is good, because that's another remark I was going to give. There's too much white space here, but it doesn't show up on the phone.
Right.
So that's good. So these boxes are all really very nice. And then again, if you scroll further down, it's the same thing. From here to here is too big. So that needs to be like a third almost. Yeah, our commitment to you. And then we have again quite a lot of space here, but on the real mobile, that's acceptable. There's nothing there. Then meet the team. Meet the team just hangs there. Like, why is there not a photo? Because it's just underneath our commitment. It's a little bit confusing. Like if they just put a photo on there of your team, it doesn't have to be big, but at least it's like, okay. So because now it's just hangs there, just like, okay, meet the team.
Right.
If you visualize that, you put a picture there, then it's clear that if they click there, they're gonna go to meet your team.
And on the mobile, so I'm seeing that on the mobile, and of course desktop doesn't have it either. But so if they can't build two separate themes, you know, mobile and desktop, then would you just put meet the team and then a small picture right underneath it?
Yes, there needs to be a picture of the team.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. What is that on? Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. So that they can actually look okay. They're gonna go like, I know what they're going to say from a design point of view. You have 1, 2, 3, so you should have 1, 2, 3 underneath. But again, with so many people looking on mobile, it's just like that being fixed on it has to look good on desktop. Is like, you know, it has to look good on mobile first.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Most of your traffic is gonna come from there anyway. Just put that photo. You have a good photo on.
If you click on meet the team, like that funny photo there.
Yeah. This one, just put a photo there. It doesn't have to be like the size of half the page.
Right.
Just small. It's okay. That it's clear. that that's your team. And on mobile, it's even more important because on mobile this just hangs there and
Gotcha.
it doesn't really do much. And then the rest actually is okay. Again, here is a lot of space here
Yeah, and it doesn't
underneath.
that well, let's see, what does it do here? Yeah, it does kind of show, yeah, even on the well, I think because the way they did some of those
Okay, yeah,
testimonials,
yeah,
yeah,
okay,
because
yeah.
some of them are
Some
longer
are,
and some
yeah,
are
yes,
shorter.
yes, yeah. I see that now, yeah, while it's rolling. Yeah, okay,
Hmm.
fair point. Okay, but there's another thing I wanted to say that is because your above the fold real estate is so important.
Right.
Uh, the logo is too big. People don't really care about a logo, to be honest.
Okay.
So if you look at your iPhone or whatever you're using, just
Right.
make it smaller. You know, it's because the letters are so big.
Right.
Moss, everybody can see that anyway. So that can be half the size, and then
Uh-huh.
automatically you get a little bit more real estate space above the fold, and that actually might maybe make it a little bit easier to show more of why we're doing it. That they
I
already see
see.
that there's text there. They might not, they still have to maybe scroll to push on the video
Hmm.
to start the video. But if you have it in autoplay, if you put it in autoplay and it starts straight away, it will already draw people's eyes to it. So that's
Okay.
always a good thing. A good thing also. Something that
Okay.
moves will get our attention. That is like from back when we were cavemen. Like if
Right.
something moves, we look, you know, because we want to know, like, what is it? Is it, you know, is it going to
Uh-huh.
eat me or not?
Gotcha.
Anything that happens out of the ordinary, we look at because we want to have that, you know, that fight or flight. Do I need to run from this or not? Is it enemy? Uh, ah, we're
Mhm.
still we're still who we are. We've evolved a little bit, but our basic instinct is still there.
Mhm. Let me ask you something. So in order to find out like our phone number or the hours on the mobile, you've got to hit those three little bars at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Would you recommend, because on the desktop, obviously it's there at the very top, but on the mobile, would that make a difference? Should we, if they can adjust it where you show hours and phone number just right up there so they can hit that button and click it and call us immediately versus having to click the three bars and then there's the button for the phone number and the hours?
Um, it depends on which theme that they are using for your website.
Right.
Some have many more functions to edit the header, also because this is the header
Right.
and this is your footer. So that normally comes back on every single page. So you see that every single page, so that
Right.
doesn't change.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on what theme that they are using
Okay.
and what options that header allows
Right.
to do. But if the phone would fit on there, that would be good.
Okay.
You have the space there for sure,
Right.
but that's not something that that's not something that I can answer 100% for you.
Okay.
So ask them, is it possible, yes or no? Again, if the more flexible the page builder is the theme that they use for to differentiate between mobile and desktop, and if that has
Right.
that variable flexibility to have things different
Hmm.
and being able to adjust them according to the platform that they're on.
Right.
A lot of the themes and the page builders don't allow this because it's rather complex and yeah, so can't really say.
Okay. I actually have a call with them at noon today. So it's good that we got the chat and kind of go over some of those things. I appreciate it.
Yeah, best just don't mention that you spoke to somebody else. Just all this stuff you figured out by yourself. Because yeah, you can try, but you might get some funny reactions. So I would recommend you, like, don't mention that you spoke to somebody else. I'm not going to get involved in your project anyway. So but they might straight away go onto the defensive, and that's not necessary. Just let them deal
Right.
with you. Just say that, hey, I've done a little bit of research or due diligence, and there's a couple of things that I came across, like, and then you can talk about the page speed, and you can show them that, and then you can say, like, yeah, I had a quick look on my phone to see how the new site was looking, and I actually saw that there's a lot of white space here, and this and that. So up to you how you want to approach that, but that's the story what I would say. And then you can say, like, yeah, I'm not really looking that friendly on the video, and was that your idea or their idea to put the video there?
It was my idea.
Okay, so then you can say, like, I had a change of heart, and I think maybe it's better because you can't really see the video on mobile anyway. So
Right.
maybe if we can make a section about why we're doing it with that headline,
Right.
and then have that video there, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe float the idea of embedding it on the site. You know what they're going to say. They're going to say, yeah, but it might slow it down. And then just run the tests. There's very good software out there to compress videos, to make them that they don't take up many resources. Okay, you will lose quality, but you don't have to have a HD video or a 4K video on your homepage, you know.
Right.
So
Okay. So let me ask you this. So, like you said, obviously, I'm kind of involved with this agency or whatever. But for future reference, tell me a little bit about how you work. Do you take one-off projects? Do you like to say, okay, if we're going to build a website and we can build, do you run Facebook ads? Do you do Google ads? Do you do all that sort of stuff as well, or what do you do?
Well, Google Ads, I'm doing that together with a colleague of mine. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really getting involved in Google Ads anymore, because these things, they change really very rapidly, and you cannot know everything and be good at everything. So I dropped out of Google Ads about 2 years ago to 100% concentrate on Facebook ads. So that's where
Mm-hmm.
my expertise lies now. But with my marketing background, what I quickly mentioned in the webinar last week also, I've actually seen that it's just not only about Facebook ads, it's about the funnel behind. And when I take on clients, I actually have more work trying to get everything where they're sending their traffic to actually get that converting properly, because otherwise they're just spending money on Facebook ads for nothing really.
Right.
Like if the foundation leaks, like Facebook ads is not going to save you if your foundation leaks. It doesn't matter how much money that you're going to throw at Facebook's, like your backend foundation and your conversion of whatever is happening after you get the lead is very, very important now, because Facebook is getting more and more and more expensive. The last 3-4 years, the cost has gone up and up and up and up. So it's very important that the leads that you get, that you monetize them. You
Right.
cannot really have spillage.
Right.
It
Okay.
depends really what people want. I'm working with a lot of coaches also. They have funnels that we just set up in ClickFunnels.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to have a bigger website, then we do the full builds also.
Right.
And then for there, we have other options. Like ClickFunnels is not really, you can build a website on ClickFunnels, but it's not really designed to do that.
Right.
because it's a funnel software. And a lot of big companies, they have a website and then their sales pages separate from their website.
Right.
In
So they would
ClickFunnels,
use
for example.
like lead pages or optimized press, or they would have the web page say on WordPress with a certain theme,
Yeah.
and then it would drop into ClickFunnels to run them through that way.
Yes, for example. Or it's usually because they realize afterwards they need good sales pages, and a lot of websites, they are not really set up for that. Because, for example, if you would say I want to run a sales or a lead magnet for your book here, then you could make a separate page on your site. But the problem that you have is that you will have your footer there, and you will have your header there, sorry, and you have your footer at the bottom, which is a lot of links on there. And people
whereas
can
you want
click.
to keep them.
Yes,
yeah.
And if you look at all the really very good sales pages, there is nowhere to click except where you want people to click, which is on this button there that has a different color and looks like a button. Yeah, so that's why people might go to ClickFunnels if you have this web page, for example, and you don't have the option of getting rid of that. Then you have no choice. Either you live with it, but you know that you're going to have leakage, or you spend the extra $99 per month and open a ClickFunnels account, and then have a separate sales pages for your lead magnets.
Okay. Hey, I really appreciate it. I got a patient that came in that I need to go see.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
We went a little bit over time, but no problem. So I'm really very happy to help people. It's part of my paying it forward kind of thing. But you have, it's overall, it's pretty good. You just need to do a couple of tweaks here and there. And then I would recommend that I can send you a link if you want to get into the weeds, that you install heat mapping and tracking, like how do you say, behavioral tracking on your site, that you can actually you can actually see what people are doing on your website. And then you can start optimizing from there. Like if people like skip over this and they go straight here, then you know, like, okay, maybe people are not really interested in this. I can drop this lower and put this one higher up, for example. Yeah, so that's entirely up to you. Those are really advanced things, but that makes a big difference for especially for sales pages. Is you need to know the behavior of the people visiting, because then you can start optimizing them. And that's something that I'm using almost every single day for all my clients. Is like looking, they will also record like the scroll, like where people stop, like all this will be available, and then also where the mouse goes, where they stop. That's your heat map. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's actually not really that expensive. It's like $79 that it costs, and it's not even a monthly, because they're doing a special deal now at the minute. So it's not even a month, because most of these softwares are very, very expensive, and it's monthly recurring fees. But this is a startup company. They're very good. I switched everything over to them. They're not 100% there yet, but it's like, I don't have any big monthly bill to pay anymore. And it does everything that I need. So I go like, okay, there you go. So I will send that to you, and then you can have a look for $79, like, you can't go wrong with this at all. And at least you start understanding the behavior of people on your site, and help. And then if you want to do funnels later with real sales pages, you have that already. And then it becomes really very important, because you need to know what your people are doing, what is driving their what is their attention, where are they stopping, for example, and so on. There you go. I'm gonna let you
Great.
go because I can talk for hours about this. So nice connecting with you.
Yes,
Stay in
sir.
touch. I know where you live on your site, so I will be peeking once in a while to see what's happening. And
Perfect. I
then
appreciate it.
always ready, like to jump on a quick call. Doesn't always have to be an hour or something. So if you have a quick question, just book a call with me, no problem.
I certainly appreciate it. You have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.